Hello, my wonderful, beautiful friends, guys. Welcome back to r/EntitledPeople, where people believe that they can do whatever they want, whenever they want, because in their minds, they're special. And this episode, guys, is all about entitled Karens stealing from people and getting what they deserve. Guys, the stories are super satisfying. I hope you enjoy them. Hit subscribe if you haven't, and as always, you can send or link your post to this email right here. Okay, so I'm at a loss here, guys. Realistically, I know I'm in the clear. Legally, I'm in the clear, but I'm being vilified by my coworkers, and I'm genuinely considering quitting my job because of this mess. So I work a pretty standard day job, and at night, I help my friend at her restaurant, which serves an assortment of Thai cuisine. And to be honest, I'm insanely picky, but I fell in love with this peanut sauce that the chef makes, and he showed me how to make it, so about once a week, I take it on noodles or stir fry to my job for lunch. People know this, and a handful have tried it. It smells nutty, and it tastes nutty. So lately, I'll open my lunchbox to find half my food missing, and I've tried addressing it, but nothing's been changing. And I was pretty sure that it's one of the new hires doing it, but I had no proof. Until now. So Thursday I took my noodles, and my entire Tupperware went missing, which has never happened before. I was pissed off, but what can I do? A coworker shared her pizza with me, and that was it, until today. My boss confronts me, and he accuses me of poisoning my noodles because his daughter, one of the new girls, borrowed my lunch, and she had to be hospitalized. It turns out she's severely allergic to peanuts. She ate some, and boom, anaphylaxis. She used an EpiPen, had to be hospitalized, and now her dad's trying to hold me accountable for her bills and condition, but I don't see it. Like, why should I pay? I didn't mark my food as an allergen because I'm not allergic to it, and she was dumb enough to steal from me and eat something she can't have. My boss is being hateful, and some coworkers are icing me out because I warned him that I'd report any harassment to HR if he tried anything funny. Brown nosers, I guess. My friend is aware, and she offered me a full-time job, but I just can't help but feel it's unfair. At the same time, I could have killed his daughter, so am I the a-hole? Yeah, so a million times no, and I don't think anyone would say that OP's the a-hole in this situation. This is exactly what can happen if you steal people's food knowing you're allergic to certain things. And guys, I can't believe the boss had the nerve to come at OP saying she owes the money in medical bills when none of this would have happened if his daughter wasn't a food thief. I'm a 27-year-old male, and at the time this happened, I was dating a girl for about 6 months. We met at the mall in my city while I was looking for a gift for Mother's Day. When we met, she was driving an older car that she got from an auction, which ran great, but she didn't have working air conditioning and it did have body damage, and this is relevant for later. She also worked odd jobs because she was a high school dropout. Well, one time I let her use my car, which was also pretty old, but it worked better than hers did. We went to a party, and she was the designated driver. After the party, we got some late dinner that night, and that's when she said, "I really love your car. It's got air conditioning." Keep in mind that we're in the middle of a hot summer. I tell her I know, that's why I bought it. Now I said that being oblivious to her intentions, but I did think it was weird that she said it out of the blue. Every time she would go somewhere after that, she would ask to use my car often, and I wouldn't get it back until late night or the next day. Or she would return it filled with trash. And once I even found a condom wrapper. So we broke up due to her cheating and her drug problem, and I woke up the next morning to find my car gone. I immediately called the cops and filed a report. My neighbor from across the street had a surveillance camera that luckily captured the incident. So it turns out that my ex stole my car along with her mom, and it didn't take long to find them. Her excuse was that her car was impounded and she needed to take mine. The reason for the impounding was because she was parked by a fire hydrant, had expired tags, and they thought it was abandoned. I'm glad she's doing time, and I never want to see her again. So yeah, that was a nice quick post full of craziness, guys, like complete crazy entitled logic. So my car is impounded, and I need a car, so what to do? Oh, I got it. I'll just steal my ex-boyfriend's car. So OP does come back with an edit that says, "So some of you are asking how she was able to steal my car." Well, from what the detective told me, they were caught 12 hours later up north in my state. She was pulled over for swerving on the road, and she was having withdrawals. The plates were then ran, and it showed reported stolen. Her mom then tried to say that I let her borrow it. As they were being taken in and searched, what they found was a Slim Jim, some pliers, a screwdriver, and an empty pill bottle. The mom was charged with Grand Theft Auto, resisting arrest, and burglary, and my ex-girlfriend was charged with Grand Theft Auto, possession of narcotics, burglary, vandalism, and reckless driving, so they'll be locked up for a long time. Yeah, so it seems the apple doesn't fall too far from the tree, guys. And seriously, it's crazy how some people just don't think of consequences. She went from having no car because it was impounded to now having no freedom. Okay, so to start off, I like fresh ground pepper. My wife likes fresh ground pepper. And my friends like fresh ground pepper. I particularly like it on my weekly Sunday breakfast, which, as it happens, takes place in the same local neighborhood diner as it has for 10 years. Alas, this diner deploys simple pepper shakers, inadequate for our taste, so we bring along our own purse-sized mill. This diner, that I should further point out, is patronized by regulars each Sunday morning, so we're always on a smile and wave basis with most of them. As usual, this past Sunday, we were enjoying our breakfast, talking, laughing over stupid jokes, the usual. The table to our immediate right was a couple in their mid-50s, same as us, but unfamiliar to us. They weren't regulars, and the man had a really loud voice. His voice was so loud, in fact, that he made our conversation a little difficult. During a lull in our conversation, I heard him say, "Pass the pepper." My friends then mentioned that they were gonna go for a bike ride later and wondered if we'd like to join them. I thought it over, and just as I was about to answer, I heard a scraping of a chair from the next table. Suddenly, the man with the loud voice was looming over our table, and he screams at us saying, "I said, pass the pepper, god damn it." He then reaches across the table to grab my pepper mill. I managed to block his hand and then looked up at him asking, "Hey, what are you doing?" The man snarls again and says, "Pass the damn pepper." What's so hard to understand about that? I quickly slid the pepper mill off the table into my pocket and I stood up saying, "The pepper? You mean my pepper? This is not the communal pepper." The guy then continues shouting and says, "What the F is wrong with you? Just give me the damn pepper." At this point, his wife, girlfriend, or companion, or whatever, quicker on the uptake, realizes his mistake, tried to get his attention saying, Roy, sit down, it's not Roy, listen." Now, she tried, but Roy, doubling down, was not to be denied. He starts screaming over and over, "Get that effing pepper out of your pocket and hand it over, now!" At this point, eyes were uncomfortably on us. Other tables were watching this play out in surprise and shock. At this point, a server approaches with her arms full of someone else's breakfast, and she says, "Hey, guys, not sure what's going on, but I have hot food here, I'm coming through." As she passed us, Roy shouts again, and this time he throws his hands in the air in a what the heck gesture. It all happened in a blur, and before the server could move out of the way, Roy's hands happened to smack the plates of food in her hands, and she was covered in sunny side up eggs, home fries, and sausage. His wife proceeds to scream again, "Roy, what the heck, watch out." Roy then looks at me and screams, "F you, see what you effing did, you idiot?" His wife at this point had scrambled to her feet to assist the server, who had dropped all of her plates on the floor. My wife also got up to help, and the owner, Donna, a sweet-faced 65-year-old, suddenly emerges from the kitchen and says, "What's going on?" Everyone starts talking all at once, and Roy, Alpha Roy, shouts over everybody saying, "This a-hole," pointing to me, "wouldn't pass me the pepper." Donna gaped uncomprehendingly at him for a moment, and then looks at the mess on the floor, the now red-faced and furious Roy, the other customers, and then at me. And then she says, "What? There's pepper on your table." The guy's wife then shouts out again, "Roy, apologize and sit down." I then say out loud, "It's my pepper mill, not the restaurant's." Roy then shouts at me saying, "Effing idiot, why didn't you say something, a-hole?" I then laughed out loud and looked with amazed surprise at my friend. He then stares straight at Roy and said in a quiet but firm voice, "Listen to your wife, sit down." Donna looked around at the mess and confusion, and at this point, approximately 45 seconds had gone by since Roy had first lurched to his feet to try to steal my pepper. Donna then looks at Roy and says, "I think I'm gonna have to ask you to leave. I can't have this in my restaurant." At this point, Roy's wife was nearly in tears, and she began apologizing rapidly and repeatedly, and Roy starts protesting and demanding that he get to sit and eat his breakfast. Donna then told him that he could leave voluntarily or she would have the police assist him. Hearing that, his wife says, "Roy, stop, we're leaving now." She then leaves a wad of money on the table, grabs his arm, and pulls him to the door. And then she apologizes to Donna and the server saying, "I'm so sorry." I guess Roy loves his pepper too. Guys, like, what a ridiculous thing to have happen over pepper. And had Roy taken the time to listen to what OP said and been more friendly, who knows, OP might have shared his pepper and Roy might have made a new friend that day. And I can't help but to feel bad for the wife. Like, that poor woman didn't get to enjoy her Sunday breakfast because her husband wouldn't use the pepper on their own table. Like, what is up with some people? So I've read about entitled people, but outside of my school, I've never been in contact with any of them long enough to deal with them. That was until recently. I'm a 33-year-old male, and I'm an English teacher based in China for the last 3.5 years. It was Chinese New Year's, and I was on a train to visit a friend. I had my Samsung tablet out, and I was watching Final Fantasy VII Advent Children with my Bluetooth, when suddenly I feel something nudging against me. I look over to see a kid, maybe in elementary, trying to look at the movie I was watching. So I turned off my Bluetooth and then turned the tablet towards him so he could watch. Now it does sound weird, but being a teacher here, you get used to it. Anyways, he was really immersed, and though I couldn't understand him, I could tell he was enjoying it a lot. He was trying to talk to me, but his English wasn't so good. He was a sweet kid, and he got to watch the whole thing before our stop. At our stop, he waves goodbye and ran to his mom, and I begin to pack my things and get off. And then it happened. So the woman out of nowhere approaches me with her kid, and in perfect English, she demanded my tablet. The woman literally said, "Give me your tablet, my son needs it." Now, hearing her say that, I thought I was in the Twilight Zone and wanted to ensure that I heard her correctly. So I said, excuse me? And that's when she says again, "Give me your tablet. I want my son to have it." I refused and simply said no. And that's when she said those magic words that I'd been hating hearing. She says to me, "But you're a foreigner. You have money. You can just buy another one." Now, here's a couple of things. One, I don't know if the kid really wanted my tablet or not, and frankly, I didn't care. And two, I come from a family that's taught me to never let anyone make you feel less than others. If someone tries to take my dignity, it's not gonna end well for that person. And no, I actually don't have to fight to get my point across. So with that I say, no, I can't. I had to save to buy this. You can do the same. The woman says, "No, just give me yours and stop being selfish." I countered with, "Or you can stop being entitled and buy your own." Now the woman did go away, only to come back with the police. Now I should have seen that coming, but I didn't because I was focusing on getting off the train. Lucky for me, he also spoke English, and he was really polite and obviously not in the mood for any of this. He comes up to me saying, "Sir, this woman says you stole her tablet." I can see the woman behind him with a triumphant smirk while speaking Mandarin. I'd already wasted enough time on this nonsense, so I did what I always do when I want to get my point across, in the quickest way possible. I just turned cold. In fact, my students refer to it as me turning into an ice teacher. I looked at the police officer and said, "Hey, I'll make a deal with you. I'm going to use my fingerprint to unlock this tablet, and if it doesn't work, she can have it. But if it does work, well, I should just get to bash her face in." The woman's shocked face came back so fast that the officer even had a shocked look. He then asked me if I was serious, and I said, "Definitely." Now, I guess the woman saw my face, and she tries to backpedal, but I wasn't gonna let her go until I made my point. So I shoved my tablet at her and told her to unlock it. When she tries to back up and leave, I said, "Where are you going? I thought you said this was yours." The woman then looked to the police for help, but as I said, he wasn't in the mood. She then said something to the man, only for the man to give a short reply. I guess he wasn't going to entertain this. I then say to her, "How dare you? You had the nerve to try to take something that's mine because I'm a foreigner. You're disgusting. You should be ashamed of yourself." The woman had a mixture of fear, shock, and anger on her face when I finally asked her, "Is this your tablet?" When the woman said no, I leaned my head in towards her and barked, "Then what was that? Why did you get police to come?" She finally admitted that the tablet was mine before taking her kid and leaving. The kid did wave goodbye to me, despite his mom's objections, and I just smiled and waved back. The officer then said to me that he was hoping I wasn't serious about hurting her, and I told him the truth, saying I wouldn't hit anyone over an object. He then laughed and wished me a happy Chinese New Year. I told my friend about this, and we had a good laugh. So I just want to say, guys, that I've traveled to many countries, and I can tell you that in some countries I've been where the dollar does go a long way, people are in fact this entitled when they see foreigners. Like when I was in Mexico for a wedding a few years ago, I visited a few cities, and my group of friends and I would just be walking, and a few times shop owners would walk up to us, grab one of us, grab our arms or whatever, or hands, and they would try to pull us into stores to buy things from them. And there was a bus driver who tried to pull what this lady did, guys. He was a bus driver who took us around the city to do excursions, and he tried to get my friend to just hand over his iPhone so he could give it to his daughter, because he overheard that my friend happened to work in an Apple store in our mall. Like, the guy literally said, "You can buy a new one. I can never in my life afford to buy one." Okay, so I honestly didn't believe that there are these kinds of incredibly entitled people who think that stealing a phone from someone to entertain their kid is acceptable behavior. But I guess you'll never believe insane things until they happen to you. For a little context, I work as a security consultant for a very paranoid company, which is kind of understandable considering the sensitive nature of our work and the kind of client we usually have. And with that, it leads to zero tolerance policies. Yesterday, I took a day off to deal with some of that lovely government bureaucracy, and I'm sitting in an office, a government office, waiting for an appointment. It's hot, kind of humid, and the kids that are forced to wait there with their parents are cranky, and I'm reading and answering emails on my phone, since there's not much else to do anyway. That's when a boy comes up to me and asks, "Hey, what you playin'?" I tell him I'm not playing, I'm doing my emails. With that, the kid goes away, and I'm concentrating on replying to the email so I don't notice that he returns to his mother, who appears shortly afterwards as I finish my emails. The woman comes over and says, "Hey, can you let my son play on your phone for a bit so he doesn't nag me?" I say to her, sorry, but this is my work phone, there's no games on it." The woman says, I just saw you playing, so can you let him play for a while? We'll be in before you, so you'll get your phone back soon enough. At that I respond, "I'm sorry, but I'm not allowed to give my work phone to anybody." Now that's no lie. On my phone, there's some sensitive information that's potentially accessible. My company is a bit paranoid when it comes to this, and we're only allowed to use our phones to access corporate information in what's considered a controlled environment. So as I said above, I'm in a government building, and it doesn't get any more controlled than that. Most of all, I'm not allowed to give my phone to anyone outside the company, and most certainly not in an unlocked, hence usable state. Fortunately at this point, I'd already closed the mail container, as she simply snatches my phone from my hands. I was actually flabbergasted for a moment before I realized what she just did. The woman has my work phone in her hands unlocked. In short, I'm very close to not having a quiet weekend, and she's very close to having a few very uncomfortable weeks, months, or years, depending on our legal department. I say to her, "Hey, please give me back my phone this very moment. My company's very strict with our phones, and unless you hand it back to me this very moment, I'm gonna have to report you to the authorities and report a theft to my company, and they will press charges, so please give me my phone back." No luck. She waves it off and she tells me to share, as she hands my phone to her son, telling me that I'll get it back as soon as it's their turn to go in. She then says to me, "It's not like we're leaving with your phone." I tell her, "For the last time, I'll have to call the police if you don't hand the phone back right now." She looks at me and then asks in this sassy tone, "Yeah, so how are you gonna call the police without your phone?" I then sigh, pull out my private phone, dial the non-emergency police number, and report what's going on. All the while, the woman's glowering at me, very obviously not believing that I'm really calling the cops for something as trivial as that. Now frankly, if I didn't have to, I probably wouldn't have. Like, if that was my private phone in her son's hands, I wouldn't have even bothered. Now, since this is a government building and the police station's right inside the same building, it doesn't even take a minute or two until two policemen enter the room, which causes the woman to go pale for a moment before acting as if it's not her business at all. The police ask me what's going on. I explain to them, and they ask the woman, and she has the audacity to claim that it's her phone and that I want to steal it from her. By then, the policemen have a pretty clear picture of what's going on. I take the phone, unlock the phone to show it's mine, and they ask if I want to press charges. I tell them that I don't want to, but I have to. So this happened 2 months ago, and here's a little update. I didn't have an enjoyable weekend afterwards, as predicted. Our legal department actually did press charges, including industrial espionage. And in the words of one of our lawyers, and I quote, "That way, the sum is high enough that the Karen needs to hire and pay for a lawyer herself." Now, I don't know what's scarier, to think that they really tacked on industrial espionage to this petty BS, or that a 50-year-old high-level corporate lawyer knows and uses the term Karen. So yeah guys, at first I did kinda feel bad for the woman getting such serious charges laid on her, but then I remember that she didn't take it seriously when OP asked for his phone back multiple times, and she even taunted him a little when he asked for it back. So yeah, fully deserved. And that, my friends, brings us to another end of our entitled people. Guys, I hope you enjoyed today's stories. I hope you didn't shake your heads too hard. And if you're not subscribed, consider subscribing so you don't miss these crazy Karen stories. And if you guys missed the last episode on the channel, it's an r/I don't work here lady, where a super psycho Karen attacks OP for not serving her, and OP destroys her. Guys, it's such a crazy story. So go check it out if you haven't, and myself and Stevie Boy will see you guys in the next one. We love you.